Hello everyone, welcome back to Killer Film Reviews. Today I will be reviewing the film The Little Mermaid 2023. I thought that this film was decent for what was put out. I feel like there was way too much negativity thrown on this film, honestly. I feel like it's unwarranted. Just because you change one thing or the other, it shouldn't matter, at least with The Little Mermaid, because it was never really established that Little Mermaid was this and that. So I don't think it really changes things as much as the Velma show did. The Velma show, well, that changed things. That's a different story. But with Little Mermaid, it's different. They're not intentionally trying to cause disruption or trying to do one thing over the other. Honestly, I think in a case in which they do the whole changing of race, changing of gender stuff, the Velma show is a prime example of how to do it wrong, but The Little Mermaid is an example of how to do it right. I didn't go into this film with too much expectations. I thought that the plot was decent, that things weren't too bad with the film. They change around the characters a bit. Sebastian looks like an actual hermit crab. Flounder looks like an actual flounder. Scuttle is female for some odd reason. Don't know why they did that, but it's alright. Lyrics to some of the songs change. Otherwise, besides that, there isn't too much of a difference. Besides, like some elements will change in the plot, of course. Like the ending is a little bit different. The overall tone really is like a lot of musical numbers. Does it ring somewhat hollow compared to the animated film? A little bit. Some parts I thought were wooden in this film, some song numbers, but I feel like this is a faithful reboot or adaptation of the source material. I don't feel like this was bad, because I've seen worse, and I keep going back to that Velma show. It's just so bad. They don't have Scooby-Doo in there. Shaggy's a Norville character. Really did really awful on Rotten Tomatoes. I feel like The Little Mermaid's gonna pull higher box office numbers than The Flash will. Problem with The Flash is it's just too... It demands a specific audience, versus something like The Little Mermaid doesn't need to have a specific audience to make it work. The problem with changing characters, races, and stuff is just that it's not faithful to the source material. It's kind of the whole thing with it, but them changing the color of Ariel in this movie doesn't really change too much. I feel like it doesn't take away from the fact that the actress that they have playing The Little Mermaid does a good job. I feel like they did a good job with that. Honestly, I'll get more into the credits of actors and actresses kind of after this a little bit, but overall I thought the pacing was okay. Didn't really see too many differences besides song lyrics. They make them a little bit more updated and less out there, I guess, in some cases. Honestly, I think the biggest takeaway is just seeing that you're not having... You get to have a greatly expanded plot with this movie. That's one of the nice things about it. Original animated film kind of cut things short. Costume designs were great, aesthetics were great, Ursula's introduction was great. I feel like there's a lot more you can do with live action versus animation. But I'm going to be clear on one thing. I don't want AI to be making films like they're doing with Secret Wars by Disney or whatever. That's really bad. I prefer that they take their time with films. Honestly, I think the biggest takeaway I can take away from this film is just the fact that there was good chemistry between the actors, actresses, good songs that they really took time to actually rewrite faithful to the source material. I was like 5 when the first Little Mermaid, when the animated one came out, so yeah, it was about time for a new one anyway, but I feel like people shouldn't be getting mad over just because they changed the character's color or whatever, because they didn't do it in a way that was offensive to the character's origins. They stayed pretty faithful to the character's origins. Now that's one thing, but when you change the skin color of a historical figure, for instance, if you make Winston Churchill black instead of white or something like that, then you're running into issues, because that actually is based on some good source material. Or when you change Shaggy into some Norville character, honestly, it's like they made a worse version of South Park, that Velma show. How else to put it? It's not even worse South Park levels. I don't know. I feel like what would I give Little Mermaid? Definitely did better than the Flash, that's for sure. I'd give it a, what was it? I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I really don't see why people are hating on it so much. It's because you change the skin color of the actress. It doesn't matter. It's when you change the actual, when you differ from the source material by a lot, that's when it really, really, really is bad. As long as it is faithful to the origin story of the character, then I really don't care. But when you try to do something like the Velma series, where they make Velma something completely different, or other characters completely different, then yeah, then it is different. And these videos are meant for an adult audience. They're meant for people that are at least, 16 or older for most of them, because you're younger than that, you don't really have that maturity yet to understand the different things going on sometimes in these films. And I really don't design these film reviews with an audience of under 18 in mind. I really design them to be kind of 16 and older, but I don't really have a setting for that on the YouTube, so I just kind of try to speak within general specifics, But if you're under 18 and watching this, I don't suggest watching Velma, because it's not really going to be something you enjoy. I would suggest taking time to watch the original Scooby-Doo series, because that's actually faithful to the source material. It is the source material, but yeah. So Little Mermaid, make your own comparisons. Watch the original animated one if you want. Compare it to this one side by side. You're not going to see too much of a difference besides more explanation of why this character's here or whatever. I don't really feel like there was anything people should have been mad about when it came to this new version of Little Mermaid. I feel like sometimes people judge a movie before giving it a chance to actually shine, That's the thing. And it's not, honestly, a lot of the hate comes from people that simply wanted Ariel to probably remain white or whatever. The difference between Velma, the Velma series, and Little Mermaid is Velma completely ripped off the source material, completely wasn't faithful to the source material. The Little Mermaid was completely faithful to the source material. It didn't have any issues with it whatsoever. I just think that there's just too much hate towards something that's different in film. if you're not destroying the source material, then I don't really care too much. But I will say that you shouldn't go around destroying the origin stories of established characters like Shaggy and Velma. When it comes to Mermaid, it's not really established what she was white or black. Honestly, it doesn't matter to the plot. Just like it wouldn't have mattered if they made Shaggy... If they had made Shaggy faithful to the source material and Velma, that it wouldn't have mattered, but they didn't. It changed that completely. I don't know what else to say. Honestly, it's just... What can you do? I don't really think that they're going to change too much when it comes to future adaptations. If we're going by past precedent, there's probably going to be a Little Mermaid 2 at least sometime in the future. Probably a few years down the road. It's not going to be now, it's going to be 2 or 3 years from now, depending on how well the film performs. I hear Flash didn't really do too well at the box office. It was okay. First half was decent. Second half not so much. You can watch my review on that for more information. But for now, just take care out there, folks. And you all have a decent day. And I hope you enjoyed this little film review for Little Mermaid 2023. Have a good one.